Hello and welcome to Racing WA TV. We're here at Kalgoorlie on Kalgoorlie Cup Day and the inaugural running of the $1 million Golden Saddle slot race. My name's Lockie Taylor and I'm joined by Riley Morgan on this historical day for the Kalgoorlie Boulder Race Club, Riley, and the town is absolutely pumping.
Certainly is, Lock. As I say, good afternoon to you and to all of our viewers on Racing WA TV as well. Going to be a cracking day of racing here at Kalgoorlie, isn't it? As you made mention of, the inaugural running of the Golden Saddle. That's why we are here, mainly for the Cup. It is a time-honoured race, the Kalgoorlie Cup. The Golden Saddle is the highlight of the day for mine.
Unfortunately, a little bit of rain around and it's a little bit murky in the skies, but what did you learn out of what we saw Hannon's Day only 2 days ago on Thursday afternoon, and what are you forecasting in terms of the way the track could play here this afternoon?
Well, I think it was more a case of Kalgoorlie playing like typical Kalgoorlie does, Lockie. A lot of horses that were able to get away with some cheap sections down the back and were able to land right over the speed in running were the horses that were in the finish the majority of the time on Thursday. So I do think that's going to be a similar sort of a pattern to what we might see emerge here this afternoon. Not guaranteed, that's for sure, but might just pay extra special attention early to get a bit of a gauge on how this track might play over the early races leading into the features a little bit later on the program.
Well, let's talk about the big races. We'll start with the Kalgoorlie Cup. It looks like a two-horse war between Starry Heights and Sentimental Hero. How do you see it playing out? It looks like a fascinating race on paper, especially in terms of what occurs in the first 200, 300, 400 metres of that event.
Yeah, it certainly does. That's the most fascinating aspect of the race for mine, Lockie, is the tactics. We know where Sentimental Hero is going to find himself in running, and on your point that it looks a two-horse race, I think that's the case myself. I do think they look the two. Starry Heights, the winner of the Cup last year. We haven't seen a horse, I don't think, for a very long time win 2 Cups, let alone back-to-back Cups, so that's a task in itself. And Sentimental Hero, he's going to have to be the first horse to win the Cup with the weight that he's got to carry here this afternoon as well. But the tactics are going to be interesting. I'm not entirely convinced that we're going to see a neutral William Pike. We might see him come out positive from that gate to try and find a position in running and really chance his arm at holding a spot and being able to just keep a horse like Sentimental Hero within striking distance, because I think if he does go back, he runs the risk of there being a few roadblocks in his way when he is trying to make his run into the race, when the pressure no doubt ramps up from the 600 metres. So the tactics in the Cup this afternoon going to be very interesting, particularly as you made mention of, Lock, early doors.
And then the $1 million Golden Saddle, what a field that's been assembled. As you said, the weight for age horses look like they're well suited, clearly at weight for age, and the horse that everyone has been keen to be with and the market is keen with, certainly earlier this morning, is Magnificent Andy.
And it makes sense, doesn't it, Locke? He's, as you mentioned, the proven weight for age commodity in the race, and I think if he was to reproduce either of his previous first up runs, he was the winner of the Joey 2 preparations ago, then last preparation he resumed with a 4th in a quokka behind horses the likes of Joker's Grin, Headwall, and now Generosity, who's going around in some of Sydney's premier sprinting races at the moment. So the form jumps off the page. He's got a lovely barrier to work with here today as well, and I think he's trialled really well leading into this preparation too. He's not always the best trialler, Magnificent Andy, and sometimes SJ leaves a little bit of fitness there for him to build into his campaign, but I think the trials have been really strong this time around. He wasn't wearing his race day blinkers in those trials. He races in them today. Drawn beautifully, as made mention of. So if you can hold a position in running, not always the most sure thing out of the barriers, Magnificent Andy, but if you can hold his position in the first half of the field, I do think he's going to prove hard to beat, and he's a deserving favourite at the head of that market.
And as I said, in terms of the Kalgoorlie Cup, the first couple hundred metres is going to be so important, maybe even more important in the Golden Saddle, because on paper, there just looks like there's stacks and stacks of speed.
There certainly is. We've got King Advisor drawn barrier 1, who was one of the late additions to the race. And then you have horses the likes of Final Siren, who's going to charge across, and Bravo Centurion as well, drawn out wide in barrier 10. So the sparks will be flying early, and it might just set up nicely for a horse like Magnificent Andy, who should just be able to find his feet in behind the speed in the first 6 or 7, you'd suggest, in running, and then launch late at them late in the piece.
In terms of the absolute best of the meeting, how do we make $1 out of today's card?
I'm actually pretty keen on the program today, Lockie, which could be a little bit frightening, as last year's Kalgoorlie Cup meeting certainly wasn't a fun day for me on course, that was for sure. But Immortal Bliss, he is short now, but I did think he looked very hard to beat in the Ron Sayers sprint. It looks a really nice profile. The speed profile of that race, I think, is really going to suit him. Magnificent Andy, as made mention of, I do like his chances in the inaugural Golden Saddle, and do like one early on the program, Yarra Lee. I thought she was very unlucky last start. I'd been waiting for her to show something near her best once again, and she was able to do so. And I think getting onto a drying surface, not only last start but here again today, is going to suit her as well. She's got a lovely barrier to work work with, and in a pretty open race, she's around that $5 mark. I think that's a good bet.
So that's 3 of the best from Riley Morgan throughout this afternoon's program. No best bet here in the first?
No best bet in the first, Lock. It's a 6-horse staying event over the 2,200 metres, so we might just shoulder arms and let this one through to the keeper.
Exactly right. Let's have a look at the stars in the yard, and we'll start with the one. Valanes for Helen Harding and Zephyr Johnson-Porter.
Just a little bit out of form, this horse, Valanes. He's a former Boulder Cup winner, so we know at his best he's certainly got the quality to be taking out a race of this depth. He is a class dropper here today. He's been going around in much stronger races than what he finds himself in. He's been going around in the Kambalda Cup, the Tats Cup, the Coolgardie Cup 2 starts ago, and the Boulder Cup last start, but he's just been beaten massive margins in each of those runs. He's going to enjoy a nice soft run here today from that inside draw, but at the moment he just looks a shadow of his former self.
The 2 is Absolute Plum. This is the first of 18 runners that Peter Fernie will saddle up on Golden Saddle and Kalgoorlie Cup Day. Holly Watson takes the ride.
It was a big day for Pete on Thursday, and it's going to be a big day for him once again today. Thought this gelding put in his best run for the preparation last start. It wasn't the strongest of races. It was a Class 2 over the mile. They got a long way back off what was a really slow tempo, and I did like the way that he hit the line late to run fourth. This is certainly a little bit tougher than that race he did contest there last start. Gets Holly Watson in the saddle today, which I think is certainly a positive with the form that she's riding in at the moment. But the trip for mine, unproven over the distance. Some of these certainly are, so that has to be the query on his chances here this afternoon.
Here's the 3, Argyle Star. We saw this mare win only 2 days ago on a Hannon's Day, and doesn't she look nice and fresh in the mounting yard? Josh Brown trains, Pat Carbery rides.
She certainly does. She's on the 2-day spin, as you made mention of, after being far too strong for her rivals on Thursday over the 1,760 metres. She was gifted a 10 out of 10 ride from Chris Parnham there. I love the initiative that he was able to show with her and make that mid-race move to find a position outside the speed, given there wasn't any speed in the race. And while she does lose Chris Parnham here, I don't think this race is overly strong, and I love the stayers on the quick backup, particularly when you factor in that she's back up to the 2,200 metres after dropping back in distance on the Thursday. She's rock hard fit, having had the 2 runs, including a dominant win at the 2,200 metre trip leading into her win there on Thursday, and she's a previous winner off the 7 days as well, Lock, which gives me a little bit more confidence that she should be able to handle the quick turnaround here this afternoon. She's really turned a corner since she's joined Josh Brown's yard.
4, Desert Edge, Dan and Ben Pearce, Joey Azapati.
I think he can roll forward, this horse. He's been going okay, and he wouldn't surprise me to see him lead this race here. He ran second behind Argyle Star despite being no match for her 2 starts ago, and actually gets 1.5 kilos in his favour here to help try and turn the tables. He's a pretty one-pace type, but he'll keep whacking away.
The 5 is Sluice Box, Ash Maley, Tash Faithful.
This didn't appear to handle the circuit there at Junction last start. Went to Junction and contested the Cup over the 1,900 metres, was beaten a big margin at the finish, but he was teasing, as he can tend to do, Sluice Box, in his runs prior to that. Some of his runs, his preparation, have actually been very good. Ran second on the fibre sand at Bunbury over the 2,000 metres. Was a good run here at Kalgoorlie, in fact, 3 starts ago behind Sunny Times. Got a long way off the speed, but did like the way that he was able to sustain a run and hit the line on that occasion, so you know he is going to handle the circuit here this afternoon, and like the fact that he gets Tash Faithful back in the saddle as well, Lock. But gee, it's been a long time since he won a race. 1,176 days between drinks for old Sluice Box.
He's a $7 chance. And the last horse we'll have a look at is the 6, Style Diva. She was once our favourite, then she was the second favourite, and now her and Argyle Star share favouritism at $2.80. Peter Fernie trains, Lucy Fury rides.
Well, it was a good win last start. She was able to really launch late over her rivals at Northam over this trip under the Wizard in a race where they simply went way too hard and fast out in front and really set it up for something to finish over the top of them, which she was able to do on that occasion. You lose nothing with Lucy Fury jumping on board here today. She's still relatively lightly raced. She's only had the 11 career starts, and she's now been able to win 2 of those. And I thought she loomed the main danger for the man who dominated the opening day of the round, not only on but off the track as well, in Peter Fernie. She's not my on-topper, but I did think she was the danger.
Only a field of 6 to face the starter ahead of the first at Kalgoorlie on Kalgoorlie Cup Day and Golden Saddle Day. It's the Thank You Goldfields Tourism Handicap over the 2,200 metres. And having a look at this market, favouritism is shared with both Argyle Star and Style Diva. Remember, Argyle Star backing up off The 2 days off her win over 1,760 metres, and trainer Josh Brown, we did try to catch up with him a little earlier, but he does look a very nervous man. So
hopefully the don't argue lock.
He gave me the don't argue. He did his best impression of Dustin Martin. So the nerves are being felt in the Brown camp, and Argyle Star backs up off 2 days. But as I said earlier, she looks a picture of health in the mounting yard and nice and fresh. So she is your favourite, equal favourite with Style Diva at $2.80. Desert Edge on the second line of betting at $6. Sluice Box, the old boy, is at $7. Absolute Plum out to 2,200 metres today is $7 out to $12. And Valanes, he'll be hoping to recapture his best form here today, is $9 out to $13 as the outsider of this field. Riley, how do you order the 4 in the opener?
I went 3, 6, 4 and 5 here, Lock. Not a race that I'm overly keen on getting involved in, but did like the 3 Argyle Star. I'm following up with her. Made her my best bet on Thursday here at the track, and she was able to get the job done. And I think if she handles that 2-day turnaround, getting back to the races and back up in trip here today, that she's going to prove hard to beat once again. She's shown that versatility as well in her runs this campaign. She's rock hard fit now. She gets in with the 54 kilos as well. Pat Carbery jumps on board here today. I do think if she can find a nice enough position in running and is able to build into the race from the 600 metres, that she's going to be very strong at the business end and can win again. So the 3 Argyle Star goes on top for me in a race that I'm not overly keen on getting involved in from a betting perspective here, Lock. 6 Style Diva, I thought looked the danger. Really nice win at Northern last start, but I did think she did get a few favours with the run that she was able to enjoy. They just went too hard and fast out in front and set it up for something that was off the speed with a bit of cover to launch late and finish over the top of them. The 4 in for third, Desert Edge. He's going along quite nicely. He'll roll forward. Wouldn't surprise to see him take up the running here in the small field and actually gets a little weight swing to try and turn the tables on Argyle Star, who he ran second to a couple of starts ago. And the 5, Sluice Box, in for fourth. Sluice Box is Sluice Box at the end of the day, Lock. He's run some good races this preparation, but he struggles to win, and that's just him. He is a little bit of a tease as a rising 10-year-old. 3, 6, 4 and 5, my numbers here in race number 1, but hoping Argyle Star can repeat the what Red Cadillac, the horse that was able to do it last year and win both on Hannon's Day and on Cup Day, hoping that she can repeat the dose here for Josh Brown. 3, 6, 4 and 5.
3 Argyle Star on top for Ollie, the 7-year-old mare looking to make it 3 in a line, and this would certainly be the biggest victory of her career, taking out the opener on Kalgoorlie Cup Day. The crowd is building on what is set to be a huge day of racing here at the KBRC. The Kalgoorlie Cup, as well as the first running of the $1 million Golden Saddle. Argyle Star is your favourite in the opener at $2.80. Style Diva on the second line of betting at $2.90. And they're about to begin the loading process, so we'll hand you upstairs and say a very good afternoon to Darren McCauley.
Thank you indeed, Lockie. Good afternoon to you. Welcome everyone here to this momentous day of racing. Time-honoured Cup, the new kid in town, the Golden Saddle, the Ron Sayers Memorial, capping a fabulous day of racing. Small field contesting the opening event. The mares sharing top billing, Argyle Star and Style Diva. Argyle Star on the back up from Thursday, 280, and Style Diva 290, little between them. We wait on Absolute Plum, Desert Edge to move forward, and they'll be right to go. The ground perfect. Light rain this morning, just settling the dust as Absolute Plum walks forward, taken up here into the barrier by rider Holly Watson, and the red lights have now been switched through. Desert Edge coming forward. Kalgoorlie Cup winning rider Joe Azzopardi in the saddle on Desert Edge, and the starter with the button. They're all ready. On Cup Golden Saddle, Ron Sayers Memorial Day, they're off and racing. The favourite jumped away okay up there in the early part, Argyle Star. No one keen to lead, so Absolute Plum's going to press on for Watson and take control early with Argyle Star pulling its way up there. On its inside, Villains, outside of them 3 deep just for the moment, Desert Edge. Dropping back behind those then is Style Diva, and the tail ender is Sluice Box. They leave the straight behind them, going past the 1700 with Absolute Absolute Plum rolling to the lead for Watson by a little more than a length over Desert Edge, going up to travel second. On the inside, the former Boulder Cup winner Villains is next. Settling much better now is Argyle Star in fourth spot. Then a length and a half behind it, Style Diva, who's going to track its every move. And a clear last as they work up to the next turn at the 1400 metre mark is Sluice Box. About 5 lengths would cover the field behind Absolute Plum, who leads the way, does it comfortably. Absolute Plum takes the 1250 turn into the back straight by 3/4 of a length. Running second, Desert Edge hard up on the bridle. Over on the inside, Villains is next of all, and Carbery has given Argyle Star the run of the race right behind them. On the back up after yesterday's effortless win, and is cruising along as they go down the back. Then 2.5 lengths behind those then came in next spot, Style Diva, who's still spotting Argyle Star, about a length and a half head start, going out to Charles Street, the tail end of Sluice Box. Absolute Plum shows the way, working down the side, Absolute Plum from Desert Edge, and now the move comes from Argyle Star. Carbery, the first to pull the trigger at the 600 metre mark, and ranges up to join Absolute Plum, and winding up behind it now is Style Diva, so it's going to follow it home, but Argyle Star's going very well at the moment, and I don't like the look of Style Diva, who dropped out as quickly as it got there. So they turn for home, and Argyle Star makes all the running. It's shot away and led by 4 lengths, Absolute Plum, Sluice Box, Villains behind them. Tear up your ticket if you're on Style Diva. Down to the 200 metre mark though, and it's still going gangbusters. Argyle Star by 2 or 3 lengths, running on his Sluice Box. It's getting a little tired though, the leader, but it's got enough in hand, and it goes to the line for the second time in barely 2 days and wins again. Argyle Star beat home Sluice Box, Villains third, followed by Absolute Plum, and Style Diva put in a shocker, finishing well back, and there's another one a furlong behind them, Desert Edge, pulling up a distant last. Number 3, Argyle Star, ridden by Patrick Carbery. Absolutely treating them with contempt here after winning on Thursday where it bolted in. It takes another victory here this afternoon. Number 3, Argyle Star, scoring from 5 Sluice Box, Tash Faithful, 1 Villain, Zeph Johnston Porter, Absolute Plum a distant fourth, and a big disappointment, Style Diva struggled terribly coming to the turn and was well back. Desert Edge dropped out also and finished a mile behind them. A length and a quarter, 2 3/4 were the margins. The time is 2:19.01. The mare owned by MJ Hall by Blackfriars out of Princess Yarra. She's now, of course, won on 4 occasions here from 32 starts. Her last 3 have been impressive at Northern, here on Thursday and again this afternoon. Right in the zone for trainer Josh Brown, beautifully ridden by Pat Carbery. Second home, number 5, Sluice Box by My Admiration for the Ashley Maley stable, ridden by Tash Faithful, and Villains by Doomsday from Canny Lassie. Zeph Johnston Porter, the rider, for Esperance trainer Helen Harding. Next event on the card will be the running of the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap 1400. It'll be a pay 1-2, a field of 7, no changes there in the next at 4 minutes after 1. Let's take you back down now to Lockie Taylor and Riley Morgan in the yard after the victory. Argyle Star giving supporters no concerns whatsoever after being given a gun ride by Pat Carbery.
Thanks, Darren. The punters had plenty of confidence in this mare, and we'll find out if the trainer did as well. Josh Brown joins me now. Josh, congratulations on the win. What has the last 2 days looked like for the mare and yourself in terms of how you're feeling leading up to today?
Yeah, we've, like I said, I was on radio yesterday. I said I've had to sacrifice a couple of nights with the boys when she won on Thursday. So, thanks to my Uncle Ricky and Trent, I've stayed with them up here. And everyone's really helped me for the last 48 hours. We've had to keep her moving morning and night. So that's all we've really done with her, is made sure she hasn't sat still for too long. And it's obviously paid off.
You could see in the mounting yard that she had a spring in her step. She looked nice and bright. Did your confidence grow at all once she came here on course?
Yeah, she's behaved exactly the same as she had the last few starts for me. So, that probably gave me a little bit of confidence. But, I took her for a walk the next morning and she was bouncing around like that straight away. So we're confident, and she licked the bin out. So, yeah, it was good.
What's it mean for a local boy to kickstart the day off with a winner?
Oh, it's very good. Good timing too, because I only got one runner, so now we're straight to the bar.
Enjoy the day, my friend. Well done.
Thank you.
There's Josh Brown, and here's Paddy Carbery.
Thanks, Lockie. Catching up with Paddy Carbery. A nice start to the day on Kalgoorlie Cup Day. Pat, you rode this mare with confidence. She's a mare in the zone at the moment, and she had enough in hand late.
Yeah, obviously she's probably the fittest horse in the race, and she was quite a bit ratty sort of pre-race, which I was a little bit concerned that maybe she was a bit unhappy about coming back to the races off a short backup, but obviously she wouldn't have done much between Thursday and today, and it went quite just a genuine sort of steady tempo, and once we got down the side, I thought, I'll put her into the race, and she got past them quite easy, and she held them off pretty well.
As you mentioned, she was pretty fresh in the yard. Were there any conversations with Josh pre-race about making that early move if you had to, given she won in a pretty similar vein there on Thursday a couple of days ago?
Well, he just said, obviously he would have watched all of her replays, but he just said if they are going steady, don't be afraid to put her in the race, because she won't have much turn of foot if you sit up and let them sprint away from you. So, she got on top of them easy and outstayed them well.
Looking a little bit further ahead today to the Golden Saddle, has LK filled you with any confidence regarding Storm Chaser and how he can perform?
No, he hasn't really said much about the horse at all, to be honest. He sort of probably, leaves us up to our own devices to a point, and he'll obviously have a bit of a pre-race chat later on. But I worked him the other day. Just he's only a lightly framed horse, and he only done a bit of evens last Saturday, and he felt like he was in good order. He's only got to bring his best form to the races, and he's got to be a good chance. He's obviously a back marker, but drawing the extreme outside probably makes it a bit trickier. But he should be a good tempo on, and I'm sure he'll be hitting the line hard.
Good start to the day, Pat. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
There's Pat Carbery. He combines with Josh Brown, and the mare backing up off 48 hours Argyle Star gets the job done to take out the first on Kalgoorlie Cup Day.